as we watch over Kiev. We're back for our second part of coverage here tonight as the attack on the Ukraine commences. Tanks and Russians are en route to the capital of Kiev and are expected to arrive within 4 to 6 hours if they want. So truly, a staggering, sobering reminder of the power of the Russians. But we're sitting here, we're enjoying it, we're having fun. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how you found out about the show. Hope you're having a good night. Hope you're not terrified like I am. But it's okay if you are. We're gonna get through it if we can. And if we can't, we can't. It's fine. It'll be the end. And that's, it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. Check in with our old friends over, I think, at ABC News. Russian invasion of Ukraine underway, Pentagon officials.
Some tough days ahead. General Abrams, thank you. Let's bring in former Homeland Security official and ABC News contributor Elizabeth Newman now. Today, Ukraine experienced some smaller scale cyber attacks, but Russia is capable of much larger cyber attacks. Talk about what those could look like.
Right. So today we initially saw some DDoS attacks, those are denial of service attacks, which think about not being able to access your bank or a government website where you need some information. It's disruptive, but it's not really of the size and scale that we expect. But then later this afternoon, we actually got word that some malware had been released. It's a data wipe malware. And it had infected, reports are up to hundreds of computers in Ukraine, and the damage that type of attack can cause could be significant depending on which places were targeted. And what
it might not be.
Some of the cyber experts are postulating, it's all pretty early to deduce everything, but they think that the DDoS attacks may have been launched to be able to distract from the other activities embedding this malware in networks. So it is very possible and likely that we will
none of your business. I'm glad that you're watching from
unfurl over the next
the shithole body of my
with
state. At least you're not in Mexico.
Ukraine. And the purpose of those is to try to cause more disruption, and in particular, damage and disrupt the ability to communicate with the public, as well as to exercise command and control of the military and organizing your response as a government. So I would expect to see more of those. We might also see attacks on infrastructure, taking out the energy grid. They actually did this to Ukraine back in 2015, took out power for about 1 to 6 hours for about 230,000 people. And we know that Russia has pretty significant capabilities, so I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg at this point.
Bringing this full circle, there's serious concern about the prospect of cyber attacks right here in the United States by the Russian government. What is the likelihood that could actually happen?
I think it's pretty significant. You've seen DHS and the Department of Justice actively try to raise the alarm about potential cyber attacks, and they've been doing this for months. They've been putting out bulletins, they've been holding calls with state and local officials, with private businesses, with the banks, anybody that is an owner or operator of critical infrastructure with a particular focus on finance, communications, internet, energy, oil and gas. We are very concerned that those businesses and critical infrastructure are going to be targeted, may already be in the process of being targeted, because of course in the way that cyber warfare is conducted, you often try to infiltrate, plant viruses, plant malware that is quiet and silent, and then you activate it when you need it. So the battlefield has probably already been prepped, and they've been trying to alert everybody to be on the lookout for suspicious activity. Shields up, as they say. But from an American citizen standpoint, what does this mean for us? it could mean that we see disruptions. You remember that we had the colonial pipeline attack. It was a ransomware attack, a little bit different than probably what we would see in this circumstance. But it didn't take much. It didn't take much to shut down that pipeline, and disruptions to gas supplies occurred pretty quickly. Prices went up, and then there were parts of the country where there were lines and people had to wait for the gas tank to come and fill up the station in order for them to fill up their cars. So those types of disruptions are very plausible, and we saw Putin kind of threaten that tonight. I do wonder if his threat to the U.S. and to the West, that we may, if we involve ourselves in some way, we might see attacks of the like that we haven't ever seen in our history before. That could be a reference to cyber warfare. We really have not seen the full scale of what it would look like for the United States and Russia to go head-to-head from a cyber perspective.
It would be very bad.
Of course, if they attack us, we have some offensive capability as well. We would likely retaliate. And where does that go? So the world's never seen that, and that is... that's a little disturbing. I think I know that the people in the United States government that manage those capabilities are very mindful of the precedent that entering into cyber conflict may set, and the dangers that might pose. But we will see how Russia chooses to handle itself.
A lot more to monitor. ABC News contributor Elizabeth Newman, thank you. And now we want to check back in with former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor. Thank you for joining us again. Now, in a statement, the White House said that the president plans to deliver remarks tomorrow announcing further consequences for Russia. What could those further consequences be?
Andrew, he could pull out all the stops, and he should pull out all the stops. This is a major violation of Ukrainian sovereignty, major violation of international law, major invasion of a sovereign nation, in violation of everything that has kept the peace for all this time. And we have been very clear. President Biden has been very clear. The allies have been very clear that if he does this, if President Putin does this, which he has now done, that we will throw all of these sanctions and all of these export bans at him. And so I would imagine that we will see the maximum level of sanctions against top Russian banks, maybe SWIFT, maybe against the Russian central bank. This is a nuclear option in financial sanctions, is the Russian central bank. I would imagine, and I would hope, that all of these would be on the table. All of these not only on the table, would be implemented. Now is the time. President Putin has, has done what we said we didn't want him to do, and if he did, we are
pushing a lunatic to just blow everything
We should go
up.
to the top level of that escalation.
Now, I want to play you a dramatic moment, end of the UN Security Council meeting that just wrapped. It was a Ukrainian ambassador addressing his Russian counterpart. Take a listen.
There is no purgatory for war criminals. They go straight to hell, Ambassador.
What's your reaction to that?
He's absolutely right. This is a war crime. The number of civilians and military who will die because of what Mr. Putin has ordered will be enormous. It will be thousands, tens of thousands. Unprovoked attack on a nation, a sovereign nation, on Putin's border, killing thousands of civilians and military. This is a war crime. The ambassador is absolutely right. President Putin will go down with other war criminals,
like George
in the past
Bush,
century, who ordered attacks on innocent people, who ordered attacks on
like Barack Obama
on their borders. President Putin will go down with that club, with that group of people, that group of war criminals.
The Obama-Biden.
Now that we're here, this crisis has been building for weeks.
Bush.
Do you think the United States and NATO
that
allies
group.
did enough in terms of
the
sanctions,
Trumps.
in your opinion, before
the airstrike, drone strike people, right?
What just happened here tonight?
So the NATO allies and the United States took a lot of steps before this happened, and that was a good thing. They moved a lot of troops. They moved a lot of units from the United States to Eastern Europe. They moved a lot of U.S. forces from one part, from Germany, from parts of Europe into the eastern flank of NATO. Those were active steps, active deterrence. That was an attempt to deter President Putin from what he's done today. So that deterrence has now failed. And now we go into exacting the price. We said we were going to do this. We're going to exact a price for doing this on his economy, on him, on his industry. Now's the time to do that.
What could be the next move from NATO allies then if those sanctions did not deter Russia from invading?
So two things. One is to continue to provide and increase dramatically the assistance that now the Ukrainian military needs more than ever. The Ukrainian military is on its own. There are no NATO forces there to help them, to fight with them, to fight alongside of them. So they need support. They need equipment. They need ammunition. They need the basis of resistance, and they are going to need then continued support to resist the Russians as they try to occupy. The Russians can get in. The Russians can get into Ukraine. There's no doubt about that. When they try